Welcome. Today we will talk about the Willendorf Venus. It is a statuette which was made during the Palaeolithic period. It is also called Woman of Willendorf or Nude Woman. It is made of oolitic limestone tinted with red pigment, and it is very small, only 11 centimeters in height. It was found in 1908 at Willendorf in Austria, but the material tells us that it was probably made somewhere else and later carried to Willendorf. Palaeolithic people were, in fact, nomads, and most of their sculptures were portable. Despite her name, she was probably not a Venus. Venus was the name of the Roman goddess of love and beauty, and when it was discovered, scholars mistakenly assumed that this figure was likewise a goddess of love and beauty. It has actually been suggested that she is a fertility figure, a good luck totem, a mother goddess symbol, or an aphrodisiac made by men for their own appreciation. Whoever made it took particular care to emphasize her breasts and her pubic region. Some experts suggest that she is able to nurse a child. In contrast, the non-reproductive parts of her body have not been given much attention. For example, she does not have a face and her arms are barely visible. Her feet are very small, which means that she was not meant to be freestanding, and was either meant to be carried or placed lying down. On her head we can see several horizontal bands that wrap in circles from the crown of her head. We don't know whether that is a knit cap pulled downward, or braided hair. Her face was perhaps once painted, but now it does not give us any indications as to who she might be. It could be that the Palaeolithic sculptor may have not created a portrait of a particular person, but rather a representation of the reproductive aspects of a woman. In combination with the emphasis on the breasts and pubic area, it seems likely that the Venus of Willendorf had a function that related to fertility. From this statuette we can learn that these nomadic people living almost 25,000 years ago cared about making objects beautiful, and were aware of the importance of women. I know what you are thinking. She does not look beautiful. However, we don't know what the standards of beauty were at the time. We can assume that it must have been difficult to obtain food, therefore if someone was overweight, they must have been good at hunting, and this made them attractive. Also, a pregnant woman needs to be able to provide food for her baby, so the bigger she is, the better. Recently another interesting interpretation came to life. When this figure was discovered, times were very different. The field of anthropology was dominated almost entirely by white males, and many interpretations about ancient cultures reflect this bias. They assumed that the figurine was made by a man and it represented some kind of good luck token, or even the world's oldest pawn. However, we know that these people were hunter-gatherers and they lived in communal sharing societies where women were equal. It could well be that this is a self-portrait of the woman that carved it. Given that mirrors hadn't been invented yet, a woman carving her own shape would be looking down at her own body, resulting in the perspective of exaggerated breasts and bellies, and narrower lower legs. Some historians also believe the figure could have been created to help women teach each other. Archaeologists have only found a small number of statuettes, and it's possible that greater numbers once existed, and were used by women to depict the various stages of pregnancy. Perhaps, women were helping each other understand what's going to happen to their bodies during pregnancy. We will never know the purpose of this statuette, but we can only admire it as one of the oldest forms of art. So, what do you think the Venus of Willendorf represents? Leave a comment.